Yes, I'm going to clear up a few matters today. Can I just have a little fun first? God damn, I'm going to clear up a couple of matters today. The first matter is stop acting like we ain't over here wringing Journey out like a goddamn dish rag, okay? We over here wringing that out, okay? That is strong, okay? And don't laugh at my hair. I'm on my way to get it done. I got my 2 little pickaninny braids. I know. Stop hopping on here telling us. We see, we know, we sharing with y'all. Okay, we sharing with y'all. We ain't have to let y'all know that we had a little niglet in the bunch. I said it's because her mama was mean and mad while she was pregnant. Remember when her mama was mad at me and she came up to the restaurant and I flipped that food on the floor? It's my fault. Her mama was...
So apparently the internet woke up today and chose chaos. Because why is Karlissa Saffold out here defending Pinkface like she's the final boss of damage control? No, seriously, blink once and suddenly she's standing 10 toes down, backing actions that had the entire timeline clutching their wigs like it's a Black Friday sale on drama. And just when you think it can't get messier, boom. She doubles down like it's a loyalty program nobody signed up for. Now let's be real. The moment she opened her mouth, social media didn't just react. It detonated, Twitter turned into a war zone, Instagram comments became a full-blown courtroom, and TikTok. Oh, TikTok started acting like FBI agents with ring lights. Everybody suddenly had evidence, opinions, screenshots, theories, and emotional damage all rolled into one giant digital meltdown. And Karlissa. She said what she said and stood on it like it was concrete poured by Zeus himself. But here's where it gets wild, because instead of calming things down, her defense basically poured gasoline on a fire that was already doing backflips. People weren't just disagreeing. They were spiraling, dragging, dissecting every word like it was a Netflix documentary titled What Was She Thinking? And somehow, someway, this turned into a family drama, a loyalty test, and a public spectacle all at the same time. Like, how did we get here this fast? And don't even think this is just another internet argument that fades in 24 hours. Oh no. This one has layers, history, tension, and receipts stacked higher than a celebrity apology video. Because behind that one statement Karlissa made, there's a story brewing that goes deeper than anyone expected, messier than anyone admitted, and way more explosive than it looks on the surface. Because trust me, what really triggered this moment? Yeah, that part is where everything changes. It didn't just start with one comment, nah. This situation had been simmering like a pot somebody forgot on the stove, quietly bubbling until it finally exploded all over the timeline. The tension around Pinkface's actions had already been building, whispers turning into side-eyes turning into full-blown discussions across every corner of social media. People were already watching closely, waiting for the moment someone from the inner circle would speak up. And then boom, Karlissa Saffold stepped in like she had something to prove. And the wild part, the internet wasn't even ready for how she said it. This wasn't no careful, PR-approved, let me tread lightly type of response. Oh no, this was bold, unapologetic, and delivered with the kind of energy that instantly makes people sit up and say, wait, did she really just say that? Because instead of distancing herself, instead of playing neutral, she chose a side, loudly, and that right there. That's when everything shifted from curiosity to absolute chaos. Now let's rewind a little, because Pinkface's actions didn't come out of nowhere. There had been clips floating around, conversations happening behind the scenes, little moments that people were already questioning. Nothing fully confirmed at first, just enough smoke to make everybody start looking for fire. And as more footage surfaced and more details trickled in, the narrative started forming whether people liked it or not. Opinions were flying faster than screenshots, and suddenly everybody had a take. But instead of the situation cooling off, it started attracting more attention like drama always does. Influencers began chiming in. Reaction pages were reposting clips like it was breaking news, and fans, oh, they were invested. Not just casually watching, they were analyzing tone, body language, timestamps. Like this was a full investigation. And every new post added another layer to a story that was already getting out of control. Then came the moment that flipped everything upside down. Karlissa didn't just comment quietly under a post. She came in with a statement that felt like it was meant to be heard loud and clear. And the way she framed it, that's what really had people losing their minds. Because to her, it wasn't controversy, it was justification. And to the internet, that sounded like fuel being poured straight onto an already raging fire. Immediately, timelines split into two camps. And when I say split, I mean split. You had one side trying to understand where she was coming from, talking about perspective, loyalty, context, and then you had the other side going absolutely feral, calling it out, questioning everything, dragging the situation into the spotlight like it owed them answers. There was no middle ground, just chaos bouncing back and forth in real time. And of course, once that divide happened, it didn't stay quiet for long. Screenshots of her statement started circulating everywhere. People weren't just reading it, they were dissecting it line by line, breaking it down like it was some kind of hidden code. Every word, every phrase, every implication. Nothing was safe from interpretation. And the more people analyzed, the more intense the reactions became. Meanwhile, the blogs picked it up like sharks smelling blood in the water. Headlines started popping up, each one more dramatic than the last, framing the situation in ways that made it impossible to ignore. Suddenly, this wasn't just a conversation, it was a full-blown trending topic. And when something hits that level, oh, it's no longer in anyone's control. But here's where things got even messier. Because once Karlissa spoke, people didn't just focus on what she said. They started digging into everything. Old clips resurfaced. Past interactions got reanalyzed. Relationships were put under a microscope. It turned into one of those situations where the internet starts connecting dots that may or may not even exist. But once the narrative starts forming, good luck stopping it. And the irony, the more people tried to make sense of it, the more confusing it became. Because on one hand, you had loyalty being defended like it was some kind of sacred code. On the other hand, you had accountability being demanded louder than ever. And right in the middle of that clash, Karlissa standing firm, not backing down an inch. Now at this point, you'd think someone would try to calm things down, right? Maybe issue a softer clarification. Maybe shift the tone just a little to ease the tension. But no, that's not how this story goes. Because instead of de-escalating, the energy stayed loud, bold, and unapologetic. And every second that passed without a step back just made the internet push harder. Fans started creating their own theories, trying to piece together motivations, intentions, and hidden meanings behind the defense. Some believed there was more going on behind the scenes, something deeper than what was being shown publicly. Others were convinced it was exactly what it looked like, a controversial stance that wasn't going to be walked back anytime soon. Either way, the speculation just kept growing. And let's not ignore the reactions from people who weren't even directly involved. You had random celebrities liking posts, subtly picking sides without saying a word. You had influencers making reaction videos that turned into mini documentaries. You had comment sections that looked like battlegrounds, with arguments going back and forth non-stop. This wasn't just drama anymore. It was a full ecosystem of chaos. At the center of it all, though, was one undeniable fact. Karlissa's defense changed the trajectory of the entire situation. What could have stayed as a contained controversy suddenly became a widespread conversation that nobody could escape. It jumped from niche discussions to mainstream attention in what felt like minutes. And once it reached that level, there was no putting the genie back in the bottle. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get any louder, that's when the reactions started getting personal. The moment it turned personal, that's when the situation stopped being just drama and started feeling like a full-blown reality show meltdown playing out in real time. Suddenly, this wasn't only about what was said, it was about who was saying it, why they were saying it, and what hidden history might be sitting behind every word. And once the internet gets that kind of storyline, oh, it doesn't just watch. It investigates. Now here comes the avalanche, because once Karlissa Saffold planted her flag, reactions started pouring in like it was open mic night for chaos. Reaction videos popped up within minutes, each creator acting like they just got handed a script for the most dramatic episode of their lives. Some were yelling, some were laughing, some were straight up confused. But everybody had something to say. And the more opinions dropped, the louder the noise got. And let's talk about the memes, because the memes, oh, they showed zero mercy. Within hours, timelines were flooded with edits, clips, exaggerated reenactments, and captions so wild they felt like they came straight out of a WWE promo battle. 1 minute people were comparing the situation to a Family Feud episode gone wrong. The next minute it was being framed like a Marvel crossover where everybody suddenly had secret motives and plot twists waiting to unfold. Meanwhile, celebrities and influencers started circling the situation like it was the hottest topic in the room. Some were subtle, liking shady posts, dropping cryptic comments, posting vague quotes that everyone KNEW were about this drama. Others, not subtle at all. They came in loud, throwing opinions like punches in a ring nobody officially stepped into, but everybody somehow got dragged into anyway. And the internet. Oh, the internet picked sides like it was a championship match. You had Team She's just being loyal, defending Karlissa's stance like it was a code of honor. Then you had Team Absolutely Not, tearing the whole argument apart piece by piece, questioning everything from logic to intention. There was no middle ground, just two sides yelling across the digital void like it was a live audience screaming during a Zeus Network reunion special. But here's where things got even messier. Contradictions started popping up. People began pulling old clips, past statements, and receipts that didn't exactly line up with the current narrative. Suddenly, timelines were filled with "wait a minute" moments as fans started connecting dots that raised more questions than answers. And once contradictions enter the chat, the internet goes from loud to relentless. Then came the breakdown videos, the ones where someone sits down with dramatic music in the background, pauses clips every 2 seconds, zooms in, rewinds, and says, "Did you catch that?" Yeah, those. People were analyzing tone, facial expressions, word choices, like this was some kind of high-stakes interrogation footage. And every tiny detail became another reason for debate. At the same time, the situation started morphing into something way bigger than anyone expected. It wasn't just about Pinkface anymore, it became about family dynamics, public loyalty, and the messy intersection between private issues and public platforms. And the more people talked, the more it started feeling like one of those storylines where every character has their own version of the truth, and none of them fully match. And let's not forget the fans who turned into full-blown detectives overnight. They were digging through comments, timestamps, reposts, even trying to track down the exact moment the energy shifted. Threads started popping up, breaking everything down like a conspiracy theory chart, connecting moments that may or may not even be related. But once it's posted, people start believing there's a bigger picture unfolding. Meanwhile, Karlissa wasn't exactly backing down. And that right there kept the fire alive. Because every time she stayed firm, it gave the internet another reason to keep pushing, keep questioning, keep reacting. It became this constant cycle of statement, reaction, response, analysis, over and over again like a loop nobody could exit. And just when it felt like the situation had reached peak chaos, the comparisons started getting out of control. People were saying this felt like a Kardashian-level family breakdown mixed with a Zeus Network reunion fight and sprinkled with Marvel-level plot twists. It was dramatic, unpredictable, and honestly, a little exhausting, but nobody could look away. Then came the wildest part. The audience started turning on each other. Arguments weren't just directed at the situation anymore. They were aimed at other fans. Comment sections became battlegrounds where people were debating loyalty, morality, and common sense like it was a final exam nobody studied for. And once the audience starts fighting itself, That's when you know the drama has reached a whole new level. But underneath all the noise, one thing became painfully clear. This situation wasn't slowing down. If anything, it was gaining momentum, pulling more people in, expanding beyond its original scope. What started as one defense had now turned into a multi-layered spectacle with no clear ending in sight. And just when you thought all the cards were on the table, that's when something unexpected started surfacing behind the scenes. And just when the internet thought it had reached maximum chaos, that's when the energy shifted in a way nobody saw coming. Because suddenly, the conversation wasn't just loud. It got heavy. What started as memes and reactions slowly turned into something deeper, messier, and way more uncomfortable than anyone signed up for. The jokes didn't stop, but underneath them, you could feel the tension tightening like a storm about to break. Behind the scenes, whispers started circulating that there was more to the story than what was being shown publicly. Not confirmed facts, not clean explanations, just enough hints to make people pause and say, "Hold on, what are we not seeing?" And the moment that question hit the timeline, oh, everything changed. Because now, people weren't just reacting anymore. They were searching. Meanwhile, Karlissa's scaffold was still standing firm, but the reactions around her started evolving. The same voices that were loud and aggressive at the beginning. Some of them started pulling back, reconsidering, shifting tone just slightly. Not fully switching sides, but questioning things differently. And that right there, that's when you know the narrative is starting to crack open. But don't get it twisted, the backlash didn't disappear. If anything, it became more targeted, more precise, more personal. People weren't just disagreeing anymore. They were dissecting motives, questioning intentions, and dragging every possible angle into the spotlight. It wasn't noise anymore, it was pressure. And pressure like that, it either forces clarity or it exposes everything. At the same time, relationships started getting dragged into the conversation whether they wanted to be there or not. Old dynamics resurfaced, past tensions got re-examined, and suddenly this situation felt less like one isolated moment and more like a chapter in a much bigger, unfinished story. And the audience, they were watching every second like it was the season finale of a show that never takes a break. Then came the emotional fallout, and this is where things really hit different. Because beyond the memes and the arguments, there were real reactions, real frustrations, real confusion pouring into the comments. Some people felt betrayed, some felt misunderstood, and others, they were just exhausted trying to keep up with a narrative that kept shifting every 5 minutes. And here's the wild part, even the people who tried to stay neutral got pulled in. Because when something reaches this level of attention, silence starts looking like a statement. Suddenly, not saying anything becomes just as loud as speaking out. And that blurred the lines even more, turning this entire situation into a maze of assumptions and interpretations. Meanwhile, the speculation about what really happened started reaching peak levels. Threads got longer, theories got wilder, and people began building entire storylines out of fragments. Some of it made sense, some of it felt like a stretch. But once the internet locks into detective mode, it doesn't really matter. The narrative becomes whatever people believe it is. And just when it felt like everything had been said, everything had been analyzed, everything had been argued, that's when a new layer quietly slipped into the conversation. Not loud, not explosive, just enough to make people stop and say, wait. That changes things, and suddenly, all of those earlier reactions, they didn't feel as solid anymore. Because now the question wasn't just was Karlissa right or wrong. It became what's the full story we're missing. And that shift, that changed everything. The conversation moved from judgment to curiosity, from outrage to uncertainty. And when the internet gets uncertain, that's when the real chaos begins. At this point, reputations were already shaken, alliances looked different, and the entire situation had transformed into something way bigger than anyone expected. What started as one defense had now turned into a layered, unpredictable saga with no clear resolution in sight. And the craziest part, it still didn't feel finished. because the way things were unfolding, it felt less like an ending and more like the setup for something even bigger that nobody is fully prepared for. And if there's one thing the internet loves more than drama, it's a story that's clearly not over yet. And honestly, if you made it this far through the chaos, the memes, the arguments, the plot twists, and the emotional roller coaster that felt like it was written by a reality show producer with zero chill, then congratulations, you are officially part of the drama now. Because this wasn't just a situation. This was a full-blown digital earthquake that had everybody picking sides, switching opinions, and questioning everything in real time. So don't just sit there like you didn't witness absolute madness unfold. I need to know where you stand. Are you rocking with Karlissa's perspective? Or are you side-eyeing this whole situation like something just isn't adding up? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't hold back. Because if there's one thing we've learned, the internet loves a strong opinion. And trust me, somebody is going to argue with you. So come prepared. And listen, if this video had you gasping, laughing, shaking your head, or rewinding like, wait, what did I just hear? Then go ahead and smash that like button like it owes you money and been ducking you all week. Don't tap it. Hit it with passion, because clearly the energy today is already chaotic. So you might as well match it. Make sure you subscribe too, because if you think this story was wild, oh, you have no idea what's coming next. We don't just report drama over here, we break it down, flip it, remix it, and serve it back hotter than the original. You blink for 1 second and boom, you miss a whole episode. And we don't do recaps for late arrivals. Turn those notifications on so you don't get left behind while the internet continues to spiral. Because let's be real, this story is not finished. Something else is coming, something bigger, messier, and probably even more unbelievable than what we just saw. And when it drops, you already know where to be. This is where the chaos gets explained, the tea gets spilled, and the drama never sleeps. Stay locked in with Celeb Sync. Stay locked in with Celeb Sync.